Imagine waking up and the first thing you feel isn't the weight of your blankets or the warmth of the sun, but a phantom itch in your palm. It is a pull so strong it feels physical, a magnetic force drawing your hand toward the black mirror resting on your nightstand. You haven't even opened your eyes properly, but your brain is already screaming for a hit. This is the starting line of a journey you didn't realize you were on. It is a descent into a world where your brain's primary chemical for motivation is hijacked, turned against you, and eventually depleted until you were a ghost in your own life. We call it dopamine, the molecule of more. And most of us are currently trapped in a cycle that is slowly erasing our ability to feel anything at all. In the next 20 minutes, you are going to see your own life reflected in the stages of this addiction, from the subtle spark of a notification to the crushing gray void of total burnout. More importantly, I'm going to show you how the world's most successful people protect themselves from this trap, and how you can reclaim your focus before the damage becomes permanent. This is your life as every level of dopamine addiction. At level 0, you are a rare specimen in the modern world. This is the natural baseline, the way your ancestors experienced life for thousands of years. In this state, your dopamine system is perfectly calibrated. When you wake up, you feel a natural rise in cortisol that gently nudges you into alertness. You don't need a screen to tell you how to feel. You find genuine satisfaction in the small things. A glass of cold water feels refreshing. A conversation with a friend feels deeply engaging. You can sit in a chair for 30 minutes and just think without the desperate urge to reach for a distraction. In level 0, your focus is like a laser. When you decide to work, you work. When you decide to rest, you actually rest. The world is vibrant, full of texture and nuance, because your brain hasn't been desensitized by artificial spikes. You are the master of your impulses. But for most of us, level 0 is a distant memory, a state of grace we lost the moment we were handed our first smartphone. Then comes level 1, the subtle spark. This is where most of society lives, and it's arguably the most dangerous level because it feels so normal. At level 1, you still function. You go to work, you go to the gym, you maintain your relationships, but something has changed. You've started to link your sense of well-being to external, digital validation. It starts with a notification. That little red bubble over an app icon releases a tiny, almost imperceptible microdose of dopamine in your brain. It's the thrill of the unknown. Who messaged me? Who liked my photo? This is the variable reward schedule, the same psychological mechanism that keeps people pulling the lever on slot machines. You start checking your phone not because you have a reason, but because you might have a reason. You find yourself pulling it out at red lights, in elevators, or while waiting for the microwave. You're not addicted yet, you tell yourself. You're just staying connected. But beneath the surface, your brain is beginning to shift its baseline. The natural beauty of the world is starting to look just a little bit duller compared to the high-contrast, filtered reality on your screen. As we slide into level 2, we enter the territory of the infinite scroll. This is where your relationship with dopamine turns from a tool into a crutch. At this level, you've discovered the power of short-form content. You open an app to check one thing, and 45 minutes later, you wake up from a trance, wondering where the time went. Your brain is being flooded with rapid-fire novelty. Every 3 seconds, you get a new joke, a new piece of outrage, a new beautiful face, or a new life hack you'll never use. This is total sensory overload, disguised as entertainment. At level 2, you start to lose your ability to tolerate boredom. If you have to wait in line for more than 10 seconds without looking at your phone, you feel a surge of irritability. Your attention span is shrinking. You find it harder to read a book that doesn't have an explosion every 5 minutes. You are still productive, but you require more breaks than before. These breaks aren't restorative, they are just more dopamine consumption. You're starting to feel a subtle, underlying sense of anxiety when you aren't stimulated. Level 3 is where the physical world starts to suffer. This is the stage of the consumption beast. Here, dopamine addiction moves beyond the screen and begins to dictate your lifestyle choices. At level 3, you aren't just scrolling, you are binging. This is the realm of the 3-hour Netflix marathons, the late-night sessions of highly processed, hyper-palatable foods, and the constant need for background noise. You can't fold laundry without a podcast playing. You can't eat a meal without a YouTube video in front of you. You've reached a point where silence feels like a threat. Why? Because silence allows your own thoughts to catch up to you, and those thoughts are starting to feel uncomfortable. Your brain's receptors are beginning to down-regulate. Because you are hitting them with such high doses of dopamine so frequently, they are literally shrinking to protect themselves. This means that normal things, the things that used to make you happy at level 0, now feel like chores. A walk in the park feels boring. Deep work feels impossible. You are now living for the next hit, and the highs are getting shorter while the lows are getting deeper. Now we reach level 4, the digital echo. This is a dark turn. At this stage, your dopamine system is so fried that you have entered a state of functional depression. You might still be going through the motions of life, but the color has drained out of everything. You find yourself turning to the most intense forms of stimulation just to feel a baseline level of okay. This is where high-intensity gaming, pornography, and online conflict become your primary sources of relief. You aren't seeking joy anymore. You are seeking an escape from the mounting discomfort of your own reality. In level 4, your relationships begin to fray. Real-world intimacy feels difficult and demanding compared to the easy, frictionless dopamine of the digital world. You find yourself procrastinating on every important task because the cost of effort feels too high. Your brain calculates that the effort required to succeed in the real world provides a lower dopamine return than the effort required to click a link. You are trapped in a feedback loop of shame. You know you're wasting your life, and that realization hurts, so you seek more dopamine to numb the pain of knowing you're wasting your life. This is the trap that catches the brightest minds of our generation. Level 5 is what I call the numbness. At this level, you have reached the ceiling of stimulation. You are likely multitasking your addictions. You're playing a video game while a stream plays on a second monitor, and you're checking your phone during the loading screens, all while snacking on something high in sugar. You are no longer experiencing pleasure. You are just trying to keep the withdrawal symptoms at bay. At level 5, your brain is in a chronic state of inflammation and stress. Your sleep is decimated because you stay up till 3 a.m. chasing one last hit of engagement. When you finally do sleep, it's shallow and unrefreshing. You wake up feeling like a zombie with a heavy fog over your brain that only lifts once you reach for your device again. You've lost touch with your goals, your passions, and your sense of self. You feel like a passenger in your own body, watching yourself make bad decisions and feeling powerless to stop them. The world outside your room feels foreign and exhausting. You are in the deepest part of the cave, and the light of the sun feels like it belongs to another person's life. Finally, we reach level 6, the deep despair. This is total burnout, or what psychologists call anhedonia, the complete inability to feel pleasure. You have pushed the dopamine lever so many times that the mechanism has broken. Nothing works. No amount of scrolling, no amount of junk food, no amount of digital noise can pierce the veil of grayness that has settled over your mind. You feel heavy. Your limbs feel like lead. Every task, no matter how small, brushing your teeth, answering an email, making the bed, feels like climbing Mount Everest. This is the end state of a society designed to harvest your attention. You are biologically bankrupt. You have spent all your future motivation on cheap, temporary thrills, and now the bill has come due. In level 6, people often feel a profound sense of hopelessness. They think they are broken forever. They think this is just who they are now. But the truth is, this isn't who you are. This is just what happens to a human brain when it is subjected to an environment it wasn't designed for. If you recognize yourself in any of these levels, even the higher ones, there is something you need to understand immediately. Your brain is remarkably plastic. It can heal, but it won't heal if you keep doing the same things. To move from level 6 back down to level 0 requires a radical intervention. It requires what the most disciplined people in the world call a dopamine detox, or more accurately, a dopamine fast. You have to willingly enter the desert. You have to embrace the thing you fear most: boredom. When you stop the artificial spikes, your brain begins to realize that its receptors are no longer being bombarded. Slowly, painfully, it begins to grow them back. It begins to recalibrate. The first 3 days are the hardest. You will feel restless, irritable, and empty. But then something miraculous happens.